Hello and welcome back to the Cars.co.za channel. I'm David Taylor and today it's all about the Audi A5. There's a lot of expectations here. Is this thing good enough to beat the BMW 3 Series? Is it more refined than the Merc C-Class? And we're going to be unpacking exactly what this vehicle brings to the premium sedan segment. And before I do that, let me just remind you, Cars.co.za, we're not just a YouTube channel. 86,000 vehicles for sale, and of those, there are 2,500 Audis. Right, time for some music. Let's get into it.
Wanna buy a Honda? Cars.co.za is the smartest way to go when looking for your next car. With a simple search engine that even speaks South African. Download the Cars.co.za app now.
Now, if you've been part of the Cars.co.za YouTube family, you will know that this is not my first rodeo with the new generation Audi A5. In fact, I actually got a reminder earlier today. Google Photos said, a year ago, you were in Germany and France. And I scrolled through those photos. I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, I was actually driving the European international launch of the Audi A5. And there was a lot to like. I loved the looks. I loved the interior. But when it comes to international launches, I always have reservations because the European market cars are a lot different. I mean, there's a lot of mild hybrids and different specs and so on. I thought, you know what, initial impressions were pretty good, but I thought we have to test this thing locally when it arrives. And finally, it's here. Onto product specifics, Audi A5. Now remember, Audi had that totally bizarre naming strategy, and thankfully they've done a U-turn and said, no, we're not doing this, where they had this genius move. It was not genius, where they said every odd number will be an internal combustion engine, that's good old petrol and diesel, and every even number, that'll be A2, A4, A6, those sort of formatting, that will be electric. So now we have A3, A5, A7 would have been the petrol diesel options. And I think even Audi themselves got confused because they were like, this is not a good idea. And they've quickly done a U-turn on that. But unfortunately, the product life cycle of this car is already set in motion. So a model like the A5 will carry on. But I think in future, when this thing is phased out and reaches the end of its generation, it will go back to being an Audi A4. Let's talk about what exactly the A5 is. So now Audi has used the A5, this model, to replace the A4, the A5 Coupe, and the A5 Sportback. Now that was not going to be an easy challenge by any stretch of the imagination. But let's talk about the rest of the segment. And yes, premium sedans are really hard to come by. And I remember the days when I started out in the industry where C-Class and 3 Series and A4 were doing mega sales volumes. These days, I think you'll struggle to see 200, 300 C-Classes or 3 Series sold these days. Everyone wants to be in an SUV. I get it. The raised ground clearance, the illusion of off-road capabilities. And look, I'm not hating on SUVs, but if you enjoy your driving, a sedan is just a lovely place to be. And you can still see 3 Series and A4s and A5s and C-Classes on the road. But let's talk about the exact segment. When it comes to the rivals, the majority of them are coming from Germany, and there's nothing quite like your compatriots trying to eat your lunch. So naturally, your rivals are the BMW 3 Series, the BMW 4 Series Grand Coupe, let's not forget about that one, Mercedes-Benz C-Class, and shout out to things like the Lexus IS and Jaguar XE. Remember those? Yeah, no, they're nowhere, and I mean, the Jags are done. And I think the Lexus IS is about to be binned forever in favor of SUVs. And when it comes to premium sedans, there really isn't much out there. I suppose if you're a passionate or spirited or creative, you can see where I'm going here. Let's not forget about the Alfa Romeo Giulia. And yes, I know it's fashionable to hate on Alfas and so on, but guys, if you get the chance to drive a 2-liter Veloce Giulia, please take it because it is one of the nicest things to drive. Great balance, great steering, great chassis. And because they depreciate like acid rain, there's a very good chance you can get a killer deal on them. And of course, remember, you can compare all of these sedans using the Cars.co.za comparison tool. You can see which one's fastest, which one's the cheapest, and much, much more. And that'll be linked in the description below. So what exactly has Audi South Africa launched into our market? Well, it's a 4-model lineup. There are two powertrains to choose from. Both of them are 2-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged petrols. The entry-level models, those are front-wheel driven, 146 kilowatts, 340 newton meters, 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. The higher spec models are 2-litre turbocharged, 4 cylinders, 200 kilowatts, 400 newton meters, all-wheel drive quattro. Because guys, let's be honest, what's an Audi without quattro? That also has an S-tronic transmission, which is Audi speak for dual clutch. Now, I haven't seen any other communication regarding future powertrains, and I would love to see this car with a nice, relaxed, refined diesel engine, but there's no sign of that. And of course, if you're a petrol head and you want some noise, there will be an Audi S5 with a thundering V6 coming in the near future. Now, you know what Volkswagen Audi Group is like with its platforms. MQB, MLB, well the A5 is an all-new platform. It's called the PPC, and that's Premium Platform Combustion. And you know what it's like with the modern brand new platforms. They've got to be able to take all the tech. They've got to be able to take internal combustion power plus electrification. They've got to try to keep costs down. But the PPC is said to be refinement and tech and driving dynamics. And with a lofty rival like the BMW 3 Series, this Audi A5 needs to deliver on the driving aspect. The biggest difference between the A5 and the outgoing A4 is the size. This car is longer, wider, and fractionally higher. And longer, yes, it doesn't sound like much, but 67mm overall length. That means the wheelbase is increased as well. And when it comes to interior space, wheelbase is the metric for success. Now, I've already mentioned the 4 derivatives, and there's going to be 2 trim levels. There's going to be S-Line and Black Edition, and the model we're in is the flagship Black Edition 200 kilowatt Quattro. This sounds like a great recipe for a straight line performance, and Audi says, you know what, if you dial up launch control, which was a pretty straightforward process I might add, you will get 0 to 100 in 6.1 seconds. Now on your screen now, there's the testing data. I've done it for you, 6.17. And yes, it was bolted towards the horizon, but I thought, doesn't sound very energetic. It was a very mechanical noise. It was very generic. There's no vurpaz out the back. There's no synthesized bangs through the audio system. It was just fast, but not in an exciting way. But let's throw some corners into the mix to see if the Quattro system can live up to its name. We're now in sport mode. Okay, coming into this corner a little bit too hot. Thanks, Quattro. Now this ride is very firm, even with the adaptive dampers in sports. On the brakes, okay, brakes are pretty good. Okay, I'm going to go back into comfort mode. And comfort and cruising is where I think the Audi A5 shines the most. Yes, it can be pretty quick and pretty agile, but I don't think it's quite as nimble or as thrilling as, say, like a 3 Series or a Giulia. But I think Audi goes, you know, that's fine. I mean, it's going to keep most people happy, but I think they're trying to play in the premium cruising space. And yeah, it's pretty quiet, it's pretty refined. But for me, the biggest problem is the ride quality. Yes, it is on the optional 20-inch wheel. So straight away I would go, no, I would give me the 19-inch units with a plumper tire. The adaptive dampers, they're set in their softest, but I'm still being jolted around and it's quite jarring. Granted, this road is not exactly the absolute pinnacle of perfection, but guys, this is quite stiff and quite jarring. I've used this analogy before. I'm actually going to do it again. If you put a 2-rand coin in the road, I'm going to be able to drive over it and tell you which side the coin is showing. This is quite jarring, but it redeems itself on the open road, and on things like a really nice section of highway at the national speed limit, this thing is really competent. Now you'd think with 200 kilowatts and 400 Newton meters and all-wheel drive on tap, you'd think that this thing would be quite thirsty. And yes, even Audi goes, and you know what it's like with claimed fuel economy. They're like, this does 5.5 liters per 100 and has a gazillion horsepower. And then you're going, really? Really? That's not really the case. But Audi goes, it's about 8.1 liters per 100, they claim. And the reality is, I'm just going to flick through here. That's short-term memory. Short-term memory. So today we've done 112 kilometers for our filming and our road test, and we're averaging 9.5. and you're going, 9.5 liters per 100 seems a little heavy, but then I go, well, it has 400 Newton meters and 200 kilowatts, and you're going to be driving in traffic. So I think it's fair. I don't think it's brilliant, but again, I go back to my point of where's the diesel? A nice efficient diesel will probably be averaging around 7 liters per 100. The Audi A5 interior is going to be the biggest talking point because it's a new generation vehicle. This is an all new layout, all new tech, new software. It is really, really intimidating. Look, it's not the first Audi to have this setup. It was the Audi Q6 e-tron, which is available in Europe, not in our market, which had that. But this is the first of the new generation Audi products which have this infotainment system. And yes, Audi interiors have always been pretty good, but of late, despite updates, they still kind of lag behind its immediate rivals. But this is a big step up. If I go through some of these menus, there's a refreshing simplicity, just trying to keep things basic on this big, bold, curved screen. It's kind of like a skateboard, and I think we've seen a few of these style of screens before. This is an Android-based software. You'll also get wireless Android Auto, wireless CarPlay. The menu system is quite unorthodox. It's taken me a couple of minutes to try work out where things are. I'm a little bit annoyed that there's no physical climate controls. I like being able to just go, oh, it's a really hot day, bang that auto button, and then it blasts 18 degrees of coldness into my face. But I'm happy to see that on the infotainment screen at the bottom, there is a fixed climate control button. So, and they've tried to make it posh and premium. So when I push the auto button, it gives me the options of auto gentle, auto medium, and auto intensive. I think auto intensive sounds a lot like fun. Instrument cluster has changed as well. Gone are the typical dials, and you're able to customize them. These menus feel really high tech. I'm not the biggest fan of these touchpads. These I thought were being phased out in Volkswagen Audi group, but they're now here in the A5. Look, they work. You can actually work with buttons, and to skip tracks, you can swipe across. Not my favorite, but it's acceptable. And while the design has changed and there's a new look screen, the ergonomics have changed. So things like your lighting control, which typically would be by your right knee in a right-hand drive market, that's now integrated into the door. So I'm sitting here and I'm going, oh, there's a bit of fog. Where's my fog lights? And then I suddenly go, okay, well, now I have to push it on the door. And then my seat positions are here as well. Mirror controls, they belong here. But now I can adjust my lights on the door. So, oh, and it's a haptic button as well. That's a little confusing, but I suppose in time, if you own the car, you will get used to these things. The rest of the cabin has gone for the typical Audi minimalist approach. I mean, do you remember the days where you would put your foot on the brake and then you'd have this massive gear shifter? No, we have this. I mean, I don't even think a box of line matches is this big. This is my little drive, reverse, park. That's it. This is your transmission, this thing here. And another cool feature I really think is really awesome, but ultimately a bit unnecessary, but it's a cool thing to show off to your mates. Exterior lighting. You have these digital light signatures. Now, some other makes and models have these things, but I don't think there's anything as comprehensive or as detailed as the Audi setup. Not one, not three, 8 designs. 8 designs. So you can adjust what your front LEDs and your rear LEDs are doing. Choose your favorites. They're spoiled for choice. I mean, there's so much to customize with this car. Oh, I like that. That's a minimalist approach. Again, it's a really cool feature, but do we really need it? But one of my favorite features, and unfortunately it's optional, but we're going to talk about options in a few, just give me a second. It's this pano roof. Now, it's not just a pane of glass that stretches from here all the way back. It in fact has chemicals or electrodes in it that change composition. So right now I can go, and then it's transparent. I can see what's happening above, and I can just push a button. There we go. And the opacity changes, and I can no longer see out of it. I don't know exactly how this works, but it's such a cool talking point. So we can actually make stripes. There we go. How cool is this? 38,000 Rand option. You can let me know in the comments below if this is worth the money. I think it's really cool. I want to talk about the materials used in the cabin. Now, typically Audi gets it right most of the time. However, this has been a slight deviation from what's expected. I mean, yes, steering wheel material, this nice little stitching that's cool. I don't mind these inserts. I like this style of rim. But the materials, this is fine, this is fine. But then we have this gloss plastic, and this is really not to my taste, because then it starts to look like a crime scene. I'm just going to pull my fingerprints over here. So if there's a crime that's taken place in this Audi A5, you know who to blame, because my fingerprints are everywhere. Also, things like house keys will scratch this material so easily. So if you do have the option of buying an A5, try not pick this, because I think it's a little cheap and it's not really long lasting. And now strap yourselves in, because it's time to go down the road of how much do those options cost. Audi A5 Sedan TFSI 200 kilowatt Quattro Black Edition S-Tronic. This is the current flagship for now. Price is standard, 1,281,800 Rand. It is the flagship. Price is tested. Hope you're sitting down. 1,592,000 Rand. That's 310,000 Rand worth of optional extras. Now, in Audi's defense, it is an all-new generation vehicle, and they need to show off all the really cool toys. And we're going to touch on things like this really cool passenger screen. And you've got to show off all the tech and so on. So I don't like the price of all of these options, but we have a demonstrator car, so most of them are fitted. Let's go through some of those. Daytona Grey Pearl Effect Paint, 14 grand. Ambient Lighting Package Pro, 6 grand. These really tasty Audi Sport 20-inch wheels on run flat tires, 27,000 Rand, not bad. If you're an audiophile, this really cool Bang & Olufsen 3D premium sound system, 27,000 Rand. Panoramic glass roof, I've touched on that already, 38,000 Rand. Let's see what else we got here. Seat ventilation, 17,000 Rand. Really nice feature on a day like today. It's currently 28 degrees in Cape Town and I'm enjoying the cold air on me. Other options, trailer hitch, 21,000 Rand. Infotainment Package Pro. That's 44,000 Rand. I'm not exactly sure what that is. And then there's the Tech Pro package, which is 100,000 Rand. And I'm actually going to explain to you what that is. Now I've got the Audi configurator open over here. Tech Pro pack adds digital OLED rear lights, MMI front passenger display, sports suspension with adjustable damper control, heated seats front and rear, electric steering wheel adjustment, steering wheel heating, adaptive cruise assist plus. Is it worth it? Now, worryingly, even before all of these options are ticked, this is now the most expensive car in the premium sedan class. And now I'm seated in the back, which I've got mixed opinions about. First things first, knee room. The clever seats have got little indents so my knees can slot in there, but it falls short when it comes to headroom, because you see, my head is now smashed up against the roof, and this is not great if you're a tall adult. Also, because of the layout and this high point over here, I'm going to classify this car as a 2+2 as opposed to a 2-seater and a 3-seater, because this is not very comfortable and awkward to get in here. So rather have a person sitting there and a person sitting here and 2 people up front. In terms of premium comfort features, the A5 does deliver to a degree. As I've already touched on, some of the options mean that you get rear seat heaters, which is a nice thing to have if you live in a cooler climate or in winter. I've got 2 USB-C charging ports, and yeah, it does the basics, but I'm going to say it's not the best in terms of rear cabin space. It's a little cramped in here. And now it's time to look at the boot space. And guys, remember, it's not a Cars.co.za review unless we have the good old budget cooler boxes. Now, if I look at the data on the Cars.co.za comparison tool, the Audi A5 in comparison to things like the 3 Series and the C-Class, the boot size in claimed liters is fractionally less than those. But I'm looking at this with my eyes and going, really? This looks pretty substantial. And remember guys, this is not a conventional sedan like the predecessor, the A4. This is a sportback hatchback design. So I think there's more practicality on offer here. And it's as easy as that. That's 6 cooler boxes in without hesitation. So I'm going to say this car is still a practical sedan. Okay, by now I think you've got the idea of what my sentiment and feeling about this car is. So let's deliver a verdict. The Audi A5, does it deliver in dynamic thrills? So close, so close. And I feel like something like the S5, which will eventually come with its thundering V6, will be the preferred one if you want to enjoy your driving. Instead, I think Audi A5, they've sacrificed dynamics in favor of a premium plush cabin. And there's no doubt that this cabin, I would say right now, sets the benchmark for premium German sedans. I look at this and I'm going, wow. Yes, it's not exactly initially user-friendly, but that's a me problem, because if you buy this car, you will understand exactly how everything works in this within a couple of weeks, and that's awesome. And of course, over-the-air updates will keep it modern and working and efficient. But then I look at the price, and guys, this for me is the nail in the coffin for affordability, because affordability, where's the affordability? I look at its rivals. BMW 3 Series, fractionally cheaper. A 330i is the closest thing like for like. And that, if you compare on our comparison tool, is a substantially cheaper car. A 4 Series Grand Coupe, right now before options, is cheaper than this exact test car, like for like. And remember, M440, all-wheel drive, 3-litre, turbocharged 6-cylinder, like an absolute rocket car. So this has left me quite a conundrum. So where to from here? Okay, I would like to see more engines. I've already touched on seeing a diesel and perhaps a front-wheel drive entry-level 1.4. I mean, we've seen that powertrain in the A3. Why can't it be put in here? I think lowering the barrier to entry will improve its image because, guys, we know that Mercedes-Benz C-Class, and we know Mercedes-Benz in general, has positioned itself higher than its rivals. And now suddenly, the Audi A5 is now the most expensive model in the premium segment. And that's a problem because, I mean, we're a cash-strapped society and I vote for affordability and cheaper vehicles. But I think the biggest problem that this car faces is not the affordability, it's not the 3 Series, it's not the C-Class. I think the biggest problem this car faces, the Audi A5 that is, comes from internally, because in the next couple of months, we're going to see the new Audi Q5, we're going to see the new Audi Q3. And yes, this interior is lovely. Yes, the exterior design is fantastic. It is a really strikingly pretty car. But logic says to me, the better value proposition will be a Q5. And my get out of jail defense card is I don't know how much the new generation Q5 is going to cost when it eventually launches in South Africa. And remember that sedans are on the decline, which is an absolute pity because yes, they're actually really nice to drive, but people will want more practicality. So I'm going to say if you're interested in an Audi A5, I would say wait a little bit, see how the prices go in the next couple of months, see if there's a nice little discount for a demo unit. Who knows, you might see this unit on the demo floors at like 10-15,000 Ks on the clock, and that might be a more affordable, sensible purchase. And that brings me to the end of this video. And yes, it's a very expensive car. And you can let me know in the comments below, do you think the tech and the screens and the looks justify its price, or do you think there's better value out there? I'm struggling to see a value proposition in this car. And don't get me wrong, I love the interior and I think most of the build quality is really, really top notch. This is a fantastic car in terms of visual appeal. And don't forget, you know how much I love this sunroof. But yes, it is a very expensive car. It is now the most expensive sedan in the segments. And whew, you guys let me know in the comments if you think this car justifies its price tag. And remember guys, in a couple of weeks, couple of months, you're going to be seeing these things on the used car lots, including us. And that brings me to Cars.co.za. 86,000 vehicles for sale, 2,500 Audis listed for sale. I will see you in the next video review. Okay, bye.
Now choosing between cars can make your head spin faster than a gusheshe at Shai Moto. At Cars.co.za, you can compare cars head to head, weighing up price, specs, features, everything laid out nicely for you.